All right, let's talk about building things. Specifically, let's talk about a philosophy called getting real. It's a game plan, really, for anyone trying to create a product. And it promises a way to do it that's smarter, faster, and way less frustrating. We're going to break down exactly what that means. But first, let's be honest for a second. Why do so many projects, even ones with amazing ideas and talented people, just fall apart? You know what I mean? They blow past their budgets, the deadlines become a joke, and what you get at the end is just kind of meh. I bet you know the symptoms. It almost always starts with the meetings. Oh, the meetings. Meetings to plan other meetings, where you just talk and talk and talk, and you can feel the creative energy just draining out of the room. And then out come the documents, these massive 100-page specification docs that try to map out every single detail for the next 2 years. They're basically works of fiction, right? An illusion that everyone's on the same page, but they're totally disconnected from reality. And all that stuff, it leads to this, the constant creeping delays. There's a great line in the Getting Real book that says a project becomes a year late, one day at a time. It's just this slow, painful death by 1,000 paper cuts. All these bad habits, the endless meetings, the giant documents, the constant delays, they're all feeding a monster. The book actually gives it a name, the bloat monster. And its only job is to make your project bigger, more complicated, more expensive, and ultimately worse. So, how do you slay this monster? Well, you use the antidote. Getting real. Now, the most important thing to get here is that this isn't some strict, boring process. It's a mindset. It's a whole philosophy built around one single, powerful idea. Focus on the real thing, not some abstract drawing or document of the thing. And this slide just nails the difference. You've got the old way, which is super slow and bureaucratic. It's all about huge teams and documents that are obsolete the minute you print them. But the Getting Real way, it's all about being fast and agile. It's about small, focused teams that are constantly building and improving actual working software. It's about, well, reality. Okay, so that brings us to the first core principle of Getting Real. And it's a big one. Stay lean. I absolutely love this analogy from the book. Think about it, an aircraft carrier is huge, it's powerful, but it takes like 5 miles to turn it around. A cigarette boat, on the other hand, can zip around and change direction instantly. That's the goal. Having less mass, fewer people, fewer meetings, less baggage, means you can be nimble and adapts to what's really happening. So what's the magic number for a brand new project, for version 1.0? It's 3. The book calls this team the 3 Musketeers. You need a developer to build it, a designer to make it usable, and a sweeper, someone who can kind of jump between both worlds. That's it. A small team like this means less talking and more doing. It's that simple. You know, staying lean also means you have to learn to love your limits. Not enough time, not enough money. Perfect. Instead of seeing those as problems, Getting Real teaches you to see them as your secret weapons. Constraints are what force you to get creative, to cut out the fluff and focus only on what truly, absolutely matters. And that idea flows perfectly into our second principle, which might be the most counterintuitive one of all. Build less. Yeah, you heard that right. Your goal is not to have more features than your competitors. It's to have fewer, better ones. You want to underdo the competition. This quote is pretty much the heart and soul of this whole idea. It's so powerful. Instead of trying to build this gigantic thing with a million features that are all just okay, you take your grand vision and you cut it in half. You build that smaller core experience, but you make every single part of it absolutely amazing. So how do you actually build less? What's the secret? It's simple, but it's not easy. You have to get really, really good at saying no. Every time a new feature idea comes up, even your own ideas, the default answer has to be no. You make that feature fight for its life. It has to prove that it is absolutely essential to the core experience. This is how you protect your product from that bloat monster. Okay, so you're staying lean, you're building less. What's the final piece of the puzzle? That's principle number 3, launch and learn. This is all about speed and getting feedback from the real world, not from a conference room. Look, at the end of the day, your number 1, top, single most important priority is to get a real version of your product up and running as fast as you possibly can. Why? Because all those sketches, those wireframes, those documents, they're just guesses, they're theories.
The only thing that's real, the only place you can find the truth, is in a piece of software that people can actually click on and use.
And here's a super practical roadmap for how to do that. You see the flow? It starts loose with brainstorming. Then you get a little more concrete with some quick sketches on paper. But here, step 3, this is the magic. You create real HTML screens before you write a ton of code. This is where you actually see the interface, feel the flow. And it's the point where making a change costs you minutes, not weeks. So, when you actually start putting all these principles together, you stay lean, you build less, and you launch early to learn, it really does change everything. It creates a whole new, much saner reality for how to build something great. So let's just boil this down to the absolute essentials. These are the rules to live by. First, lock in your time and budget, but be flexible with the scope. Let the scope be the thing that changes. Embrace your constraints. They are your best friends. Remember, build half a product, not a half-assed one. Make no your default answer for new features. And above all else, always be racing to get to real running software. And that really brings us to the final, most important question. This whole philosophy isn't just for tech startups. It's for anyone, anywhere, trying to build something that matters. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What problem, in your own work, could you solve by getting real?